One of the questions we get frequently from puppy parents is whether or not it's safe for them to take their puppy to daycare, or if it's okay for them to take their puppy to a commercial boarding facility when they go out of town. Now, our official policy has always been that puppies should not go to daycare until they're at least 6 months of age, and only if they're very experienced and comfortable being around other dogs. And we actually have adopted that as part of our procedure and policy here in our low volume dog daycare. Now, doggy daycare can be a wonderful option for dogs that are comfortable around other dogs and are high energy. That's why we opened our daycare. But it is very advanced. Matter of fact, most dogs are not appropriate for daycare. We turn down about 60% of the dogs who apply to our daycare because in reality, they really aren't a good candidate. They either don't like the other dogs, they don't have the stamina for it, or they're just not very social. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Now in Omaha, most of the daycares are what's referred to as high volume. That means they have 20, 30, sometimes up to 50 dogs in a single room being watched by one person. Now, as a behavior specialist, I know that this isn't a great situation for dogs in general, especially not for puppies. The reason why: most adult dogs are only awake 8 to 10 hours every 24-hour period. Puppies are usually only awake for about 4 to 6 hours in every 24-hour period, depending on their age. Now, even if your puppy seems very high energy, it's doubtful that they have the stamina to be at daycare for 8 hours and not become exhausted. Now, just like humans, when dogs are exhausted, that's when they make mistakes. And I didn't realize until after we opened our daycare that most dog daycares have fights every single day. Now, we've never had one here at DGP, but we're very careful about the dogs that we bring into daycare, and we incorporate a lot of breaks in daycare to make sure the dogs at our daycare get 2 or 3 hours of rest every single day. Most daycares don't do that. They don't think you want to see your dog in the crate, so they're letting the dogs run and run and run. And again, exhaustion kicks in. That's not great for adult dogs, but if you have a puppy who is not really equipped to defend themselves, that's a problem. At daycare, the daycare attendants at high volume daycares, they're trying to make sure there's no fights between the adult dogs. They're not going to be looking out for, is there a puppy or dog playing with your puppy and not listening when your puppy says, I'm done and I want to stop playing. So that puts your puppy in a bit of a conundrum. So your puppy either has to continue playing, start kind of getting frustrated with the other dog, and sometimes they start nipping or biting or becoming reactive or fearful. And these are problems that usually come home with the dog outside of daycare. So it's frustrating for me as a dog professional because a lot of these daycares are more interested in getting your money than doing what's right for your dog. They take your dog in either when it shouldn't be at daycare or a puppy that is too young. The puppy or adult dog ends up developing behavior problems because they're kind of avoiding the other dogs, and eventually it reaches a tipping point and either becomes fearful or reactive. Then usually the daycare will tell you your dog is now aggressive and it can't be in daycare anymore. So you essentially paid them to mess up your dog and then have them kick your dog out of daycare with the problem that you didn't have in the first place. That's all kinds of wrong. Now, we know about these adult dog and puppy problems related to daycare firsthand because remember, we're the people that get called to fix those problems. And in a lot of cases, we can help the dog get back to its original state, but sometimes we can only help it get better and give the guardians techniques to help manage the situation. But the puppy is now fearful or reactive to other dogs outside of the daycare, and again, that's a problem that you don't want to have. Let me put it to you this way. I run a low volume dog daycare. We have 175 puppies in our puppy classes each month. I could fill this place up with puppies, no problem. That'd be really great for my bottom line, but it would not be what's in the best interest for you and your puppy. And so that's why we adopt the policies we have at our daycare. Puppy has to be at least 6 months old, has to be spayed or neutered, kennel trained, and then friendly with other dogs. And so if your puppy is over 6 months and meets all those categories, all those criteria, give us a shot, let us know. We would love to bring you in. We have a 3-part screening process. We'll actually give you a VIP tour of the whole facility or daycare with your dog. We explain all the things that we do differently. We do training with the dogs each day. We work on their impulse control. We get them breaks. We give them Kongs that lick mats with peanut butter, daily walks, all sorts of fun stuff. I'm happy to go over that with you. And then the last part of our evaluation process is we actually evaluate your dog against each individual dog that it's going to be in the room with. We do it with every dog one by one. No other daycare in town does this, but we get to see how your dog interacts with each dog individually first. And if all of those go well, then we bring your puppy into the room and see how it does with the adult dogs with our really supervised staff. And our staff are either puppy class instructors or dog trainers, not just people who love dogs. So they know a lot about dog behavior, like if the dog's tail's wagging on the left, it means it's fearful. If its nose goes up, it likes something. If it draws the corner of its mouth back, it's saying it's submissive. So recognizing these things helps us with our puppy classes. It helps us with our in-home clients. And we teach you to our daycare, our daycare reps are people in training to be puppy class instructors, dog trainers, or already those, because they know these things, and it helps us run the room much better and provide a better experience for your puppy. Our goal is that your puppy comes home better every day they come to daycare, once they're old enough and daycare is appropriate for them. Now, what about boarding? A lot of people say, well, okay, that's fine for daycare, but I still need to go out of town and I need a place to watch my dog. So in high volume dog daycares that do boarding, most of them do boarding, and they use just kennels. So you have kennel by kennel by kennel. Now, most of the dogs that are in daycare are not kennel trained. That means when they put the dogs in the crates, the dogs are going to be barking. And I know this because we used to run our puppy classes in high volume dog daycares. I listened to these dogs barking in distress, crying, screaming in the crates, and the staff ignoring them completely because they're not dog trainers. They don't know how to fix that. We do. Kennel games are part of something we do at our daycare every day. So it's going to be a stressful environment for your puppy because it's away from home. If they can't sleep, which they desperately need, especially if they're in boarding or daycare, they are getting very poor quality sleep, if any, because the dog right next to them is probably barking the entire time. Something else that I didn't know until we opened our daycare is in Omaha, the daycare is not required to have anybody there overnight. There's a chain here in Omaha where 2 dogs passed away in boarding in 1 week. And one of them was for neglect, one was an older dog that probably had been supervised or had somebody been there, wouldn't have died. And your dog should never die, or that should never be a risk of going to daycare or for boarding. Additionally, when you send your dog to a boarding facility, they run daycares. Your puppy is going to be in daycare. And as all the reasons I talked about earlier, lack of sleep, not developed social skills, and potential for developing fear and aggression are also very likely to happen if you send your puppy too young to a boarding facility. So what should you do? Well, since we started puppy classes, we've had a lot of puppy parents hire our puppy class instructors on the side to come to their house and watch their dogs. Now, there are other apps and services out there that provide these opportunities or options, I guess, as well. But you never quite know who you're getting. A lot of our puppy parents feel more comfortable hiring a puppy class instructor because they already obviously know the puppy, and they know that they're with us, so they know that they're professionals, they know about dogs, and since they're kind of related with us, there's a little bit more security there. A manager of our daycare, Destiny, has created her own company called Your Dog's Destiny, and she basically does care services. So she comes in to feed puppies, she'll take puppies out for walks, she'll stay at people's houses and watch them, and she coordinates all of the other puppy parents or all the other puppy class instructors who are doing that as well. So if you do need somebody to watch your dog when you're going out of town for vacation, ask your puppy instructor. The link to Destiny's, Your Dog Destiny's Facebook page will be linked in the email that you got this video in, so you can also contact her there directly. But it's much better to have somebody come to your home, your puppy feels comfortable, it's an environment they know of, we know it's safe, we know it's clean, we know that we're not going to develop fear and aggression based problems because your puppy's not going to be exposed to those other dogs in daycare. Hopefully this is a good explanation as to why you should wait to take your puppy to dog daycare or boarding facilities until they're at least 6 months old. And again, only if they're comfortable around other dogs. If that's not the case, let your puppy stay at home, hire a dog walker if you need daycare services. And if you need somebody to come, you're going out of town, find somebody who can come to your house and watch your dog in a place where it feels most comfortable and confident, and you know it's not going to develop behavior problems that you'd have to pay a lot of money to fix later.